Good morning, folks. Welcome to this year's UKUserCon. Thank you all so much for coming. It is Thanksgiving Day for my American friends. I work for an American company when I'm not doing VMUG stuff. So I'm thankful you're all here. I hope you have a fantastic day. I've got one little thing to do before I get started, because somebody out there has left their lights on. It may not be us, but if your car is, I've got to find it now, yeah, flat. FN21WOB, you have left your lights on. All right, that's the end of the notices. Now we can actually get started with this thing. He says.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, my schedule doesn't allow me to be there today, but I want to let you know that Broadcom appreciates the value that VMwareUserGroup brings to our broader ecosystem. Your passion, talent, and dedication as VMUG members is obvious, whether you're an end user, partner, or VMware employee. I've directed my teams to do all they can to support this very valuable user community. Now, looking ahead, we want to go well beyond compute virtualization and vastly improve the way data centers are set up today. There's much to be gained by creating a full software-defined data center with a cloud operating model. You gain the scale and agility of a private cloud with the security and performance of a private cloud. And towards that end, we're launching an initiative, a major initiative to make it easier for our customer base to adopt and use VMware Cloud Foundation, or VCF. And that's good for you because we stand ready to help you expand your skills as you virtualize the whole stack to create a software-defined data center. Bottom line, you'll be able to take your career and your company to the next level. We'll work closely with VMUG to get you the information you need to navigate through this new landscape. So be sure to stay plugged in with VMUG to get the latest on all Broadcom news. And thanks again for your contributions and for your support.
All right, Mr. Hock-Tan there. More on him later. So if you're on this slide, give us a wave. Gareth, Chris at the back there, Linda's here somewhere, Chris is here. This is the team that's brought this to you today, and this is the people that have been running around today. So if you see any of us, if you've got any questions, please speak to one of the leaders on here, and we will do our best to help you out. Furthermore, we can't do this without the VMUG HQ staff. So you'll see some of those here either with VMUG or left shirts on today. So thank you very much to those folks who set all this up for us for today. So they've worked hard already. And there's other folks at HQ who've done all the registrations and all the sponsorship stuff and everything else. So we can't do this without them. So thanks to those folks. I'll get them to wave at you at some point as well. We also can't do this without the sponsors. You couldn't get in here without getting through the sponsors by design. So please get out there, have a chat with these folks. They've supported us. Please give them a few minutes. Go and have a look at what they've got to offer. There's a bunch of stuff on here that's new. So no one's seen the stuff that they've got to offer before because they haven't sponsored here before. So there should be something new there for everybody. Here's where you can do it. There's a bunch of breakouts. Get out there. Go and see some sessions. More on that in a little bit. There's coffee breaks and lunch and such like where you can go and see our sponsors. Please do that. We'll point out rooms and things to you. There's staff out there who will point you in the right direction. There's this room and there's 3 other rooms downstairs. Go and find those. They're not too far away. All those 3 rooms are close together. We also have an exclusive IOMAR Lunch and Learn session. So if you want to learn more about how licensing works, the Ballan Crane suite is one of the suites that you'll be in this morning. Go and take a look at that. It's only half an hour at lunchtime. You can learn all you need to do about licensing there. So, I got asked this question. There is an app for that. There's an app for everything. So here it is. There's the QR code. There's an app which explains and shows you the agenda, everything else you need to know. I'll leave that on there for a second for folks to get a snap of that. The QR quest on there, that is the gamification part. Everyone has to have that. If you want to get out there, you want to go and see the sponsors, there are things to help you do that or to entice you to do that in the app. So follow the instructions here. Visit the booth, scan the code, speak to the people, collect the points. If you've got max points, you've got to be here at the end of the day. You've got to be in it to win it. If you're here, there are prizes. There is swag to collect from us during the closing. Just a quick slide. We always put this one up. We do it at London VMUG. We do it here. I know certain people that might recognise this slide who are in this room. You've seen this before. I can't quite tell you what I call this slide by default, but it's basically just be a nice person. If you see something you don't like, let us know. Don't leave it to the end of the day to complain about something, or don't leave it to the end of a session to tell the speaker that you can't hear them, because that's no good to anybody. We are recording all the sessions, so if you can't make it, fine, but please, yeah, make sure that people know if you can't hear. And another thing to point out, if we discuss stuff here, it's being recorded, so if you don't want something out on X, Twitter, or whatever it's called these days, or you don't want it out on video, don't say it. And we don't expect there to be any fire alarms, so if you do hear one, please walk, don't run, but the fire alarm is to be observed if you hear one. Now, this time last year I stood on a stage a bit like this. We're back in our spiritual home here at the Motorcycle Museum, but last year I think my slide just said Broadcom, and there was kind of a question mark then because it had closed, the acquisition had properly closed like 2 days before I stood up. A lot has changed in that year. Things have moved very quickly. This is a software package, or packages. This is a company. So it says VMware by Broadcom, but yeah, VMware is a product, Broadcom are the people, so I can see a lot of Broadcom people here today. There's also been changes in what VMUG offers, because we're reacting and moving along with Broadcom. So you might have heard about this one. We talked about this yesterday at the curry. There was a question in the curry, in the quiz in the curry, how much does it cost to be a VMUG member? And the correct answer is 0. It doesn't cost anything to be a VMUG member. The only product that VMUG sells is something called VMUG Advantage. And over the years, that's grown and morphed. It got you discount to VMworld or VMware Explore, depending when you went. It got you discounts for exams, it got you access to licenses, it got you all sorts of different things. It gave you a leg up. Lots of people used that to help them further their careers. That program is still available, but the key thing here, Eval Experience was the platform or the name for the thing where you got your licenses. If you bought VMUG Advantage and you bought licenses, please download them by tomorrow, because that platform's going away. So don't do it during sessions today, but yeah, if you haven't done it by the end of tomorrow, we can't help you anymore. Extra stuff is also being brought into the program, but the most important and new development that everyone wants to talk about is this bit. VCF and VVF licenses in tandem with the VCP program via VMUG Advantage. And no, it's not a toilet roll advert, but it is cheaper and longer if you do this through VMUG Advantage. So I did. This is what happened. I got talked into it on Friday and figured it'd be a good idea to do the exam so I could stand here and tell you that I'd done that. So it is possible to do. I booked it on Monday, passed it on Tuesday, got here Wednesday. And there's a song about that. Yeah, exactly, you know it. So I don't use VCF at this point because we're in that part of our ELA cycle where we haven't started any negotiations with any Broadcom folks whatsoever. I don't use Tanzu, I don't use a lot of the other stuff. But there's training out there, I have that cheat code because we are a direct customer. So I was able to easily get my hands on some free training. Went through the stuff that I didn't know, sat the exam, passed the exam. Here we are. So it is possible to do. If I can do it, you guys can do it. There will be more stuff out there about this. This is new, of course. It only got announced a few weeks ago, but it's possible to do. If people have got more questions about that, then come and find me during the day, and I'm more than happy to talk you through it. There are lots of other events and things that VMUG is doing and always has done, but some of these are changing. Some of these are offering new items as we go along. So this one, apparently it's the first time that we've had an all-day hands-on lab facility available in one of our virtual events. And also, apparently, there's a VCF, VCP panel, because a couple of the VMUG folks have passed the exam since Barcelona. Some did it in Barcelona, some of us have done it subsequently. We're going to talk about it next week. So it's available for registration now. Most of the stuff I talk about here, you can go and look at stuff on the VMUG website. You can find out, you can register for this event there. Please do so if you can. And talking of new stuff, VMUG Connect is a new thing. I know it's St. Louis. That's not St. Louis in the UK, obviously. It's in the US. It's next April. 3 days. So this UserCon, a day and a bit, because we do the precursor the night before. We do the vCurry last night, for those of us who were there. But this is a 3-day event. It's pulling together a bunch of UserCons in the United States into a larger event. To give you more of all these things. So it's like this, but just extra. More sessions, more stuff, more Advantage. There is a price, there is a cost to it, but again, VMUG Advantage gives you a discount, gives you exclusive stuff. So the VMUG Advantage program is likely to morph to try and offer people as much content and as much benefit as possible to help us move on with things as Broadcom develop new stuff. Going back to Mr. Hock-Tan, he challenged us to be more visible. We asked him, what can VMUG do for Broadcom? Be more visible. So this is one of the things we're doing to be more visible. We're trying this out. It may be that it morphs into extra things. It may be it happens more than once. You'd like to think it does. Speaking of Hock, I only wanted to do that just so I could throw in vHockstar. That's me. That's Hock and his security guy who looks like he's about to end me if I say something wrong to Mr. Tan. But I survived. So Hock does support the community. There's me giving him a T-shirt from a community event at a community event in Barcelona. So they get it. Hock gets it. Broadcom get it. There's a heck of a lot of conversation these days inside Broadcom about VMUG, which is great. There's a lot of chat. There's a lot of stuff happening. You looked at the keynote from Barcelona. I've never seen VMUG mentioned so much on slides or by people talking. So the support is there. Hock came to one of our board meetings because I serve on the VMUG board of directors. That's never happened before. Pat Gelsinger, Raghu, they'd always come to the community events. They'd always come and speak to VMUG leaders at the leader lunch when we did those. But nobody had ever come to one of our board meetings before. Hock did. Interesting stuff. So they absolutely get it. And as Hock said on his video, he'd love to come to UK VMUG. He wanted to come to this one until he realized it was on Thanksgiving. Apparently that's a thing for Americans. I explained to him after that picture was taken, the only reason that we do this here this day is because we used to do it the first week in November. Those of you who've been here since 2011 would probably remember. We did it here, first week in November. Somebody then decided to move some big VMware conference to the first week in November. So we moved to accommodate that. So that's why he couldn't come this year. But we'll work on it and we'll try and get him to come next year. We'll work on it. But if we move the date for him, he'd better show up. So he came to our board meeting, and one of the things he did in the board meeting was rip me a new one because this event was on this day. So My challenge is to get him here next year. He's been to several UserCons, though, so I think it's possible that it will happen. So just a quick bit here. This is going to be really important to us. We want to know what you think about this. It's your day. We're only going to try and offer everything that we can to support you guys in your personal journeys, your career journeys, your development. Please let us know what you'd like to see. Please let us know what you'd like us to do for you. VMUG is a collective of 150,000, 160,000 people. We do have a voice. Broadcom do listen. They're a big company. They can't always, and they're not always going to change their mind just because I'd like them to. But the more of us say the same thing, the more interested and the more relevant that feedback's going to be. So please, fill these out, let us know, attend some sessions, support the speakers, and let us know what you think. Now, this one, I'm wearing the wrong gear for this, obviously, but Broadcom Rewards. It's a loyalty gamification type thing. Do the stuff, get the swag, wear the swag. I was wearing a hoodie yesterday that's got VMware by Broadcom written on it. You can get points, you can send away for stuff and have a nice water bottle or hoodie or what have you. But you can also do charity donations if you wish, and you can learn stuff, and there is obviously key information in here released by Broadcom about products and services, changes, new stuff, what they're doing, what they're saying. Sign in there again. I'll leave that up there for a second if you want to take a picture of that one as well. There's useful information there, and it's very easy to get into. And now, you've listened to me bang on for a little bit. I've thanked, I think, everybody I need to thank, except Mr. Joe Bagley. Joe is the biggest supporter of VMUG in the UK, I would say. Joe's done this many, many years, and I'd like to welcome Joe on stage to do it one more time for us. Mr. Joe Bagley.